Hello everyone, happy Tuesday. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada, and I am super excited to share with you today these 3 pretty springtime cards featuring the Tags in Bloom stamp set and the new So Very Vellum from the second offering of Celebration. Now, I have to say, I was not a believer in these, specifically in this stamp set. When I first saw it, it was another one that I was like, oh, it's nice, whatever, it's okay. I do a lot of that, and then when I get my hands on them and I start playing with them, I fall in love, and that is exactly what has happened here again with these. Now, I'm just going to take 1 second to bring up this video on my iPad so I can see who is joining us and who is watching. There we go. So I don't miss anybody. So when you join, please give me a hello and let me know that you are here so that I know you are watching and joining in with me. I know I'm half an hour earlier than I normally am, and that is going to mess some people up. I dashed home from work and I'm going to do this video real quick, and then I'm going to dash off to another meeting. So I didn't want to miss showing you these products, so here I am a half hour early, and I hope you're okay with that. If you missed the start of the video, you can always go back and catch the replay. Okay, so as I said, these products are part of the second release for Celebration. So this is the second release Celebration brochure. It went live last week. And in it, we have several new products that you can redeem for free with a $60 order or a $120 order, depending on the item. Hi, Susan Shearer. How are you? So last week I showcased this gorgeous Flowering Foils DSP. I gotta say, I'm still playing with it. It is so pretty. Today I am showcasing a couple of items. So this one is the Tags in Bloom. Now this is a level 2 item, so it's free with a $120 purchase, and that's because it is a large stamp set. We got lots of sentiments and lots of images. So that is the stamp set, and then we also have this beautiful So Very Vellum that I'm going to be showcasing as well. Hi Julie, how are you? Thanks for sharing. I appreciate it. So I'm gonna show you all of those, both of those today. And before I go any further, I'm gonna show you the actual vellum because it's really hard to see in the catalog. So that vellum comes in 3 beautiful shades. So we have Purple Posy, Soft Seafoam, and Pool Party. And it is embossed. So I'll just hold that up so you can hopefully see that texture. It's translucent, okay? You can see through it. But it is beautiful, a beautiful way to add quick and easy texture to projects without having to use an embossing machine. Hi Nancy Joe, thanks for tuning in. Hey Kathy Angus, long time no see. Are you enjoying your supper club yet, or is it supper time yet? So these are the 3. You get 2 sheets of each in the pack. So you get a total of 6 sheets of the vellum in the package for a $60 order for free. Okay, so that is the So Very Vellum. And then, as I mentioned, we have the Tags in Bloom stamp set. So great stamp set. It is a 19-piece stamp set. Okay, so that is a large stamp set for Celebration. And it also coordinates with some products from the mini catalog. Hi, Debbie Short. How are you doing? How are things in Edmonton? Hope they're warmer than here. It's gotten quite chilly. So it coordinates with, this stamp set coordinates with both the Label Me Lovely punch and the Label Me Fancy punch. So these are both on page 41 of the January to June mini catalog. Both punches sell for $24 each. There is a lovely stamp set in the catalog that these coordinate with. They are not bundled, okay? So all of these are individual items in the catalog. And I'll just quickly show you the 2 punches. I've used these off and on actually in videos over the past couple of weeks, but sorry about the glare from my lights, but those are the 2 punches. I'm not sure how well those show up with the glare, but we're going to use both of these today on projects, so you'll get to see them in action. All right, so we are going to get right to it because, as I said, I got to dash off to a meeting, so we are going to keep motoring through. I'm going to start with this project. I've done some of the coloring and fussy cutting ahead of time just in the interest of getting it done so that I can get off to my meeting. I'm just going to dump all my little bits and bobs out here. So I'm going to start by assembling sort of my background. Now, what I did here is I have a piece of the vellum. It's cut to 4 by 5 1/4. Now, you're going to want to use either our new trimmer or your mini trimmer to cut this vellum. If you use our old style trimmer blades, it's really going to dull your blades. It's quite heavy, so you may find that it really dulls your blades if you have one of our old style trimmers with the old style blades. Okay, the new trimmer cuts through this no problem, and the blades are much better, which is why I like that trimmer so much better. Oh, just above 0. It's about the same here, Debbie. Not on spring break yet. We are in the last week before spring break, which is always rather painful for all of us. Kids don't want to work. We had the time change on Sunday. We have Friday the 13th coming up, and we had a full moon. So it's kind of the perfect storm for, not a lot getting done at school. It's great. Ask me how I am on Saturday. I will be much better. Okay, so I have my vellum. Now, I'm going to show you how I do this little ribbon trick. I'm not sure if I've demonstrated this before in a video. I think I may have, but I'm going to show you again just in case I haven't. So here I have a very old, well-loved bottle of Stampin' Mist, and I have a bolt of the Polka Dot Tulle ribbon. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap that ribbon around my bottle. Now I'm going to need quite a long tail here. This ribbon requires you to be rather gentle when you are tying it. It is easy to tear, and it kind of sticks to itself. It's almost like Velcro. It's like hook and loop tape. So when you are tying this, you just have to be a little bit patient and not pull too hard. Okay, so I'm tying my knot first. I'm making my loop, bringing my left tail around, and tying my bow. Now I'm not going to have a very pretty bow right off the top. This kind of ribbon you have to kind of work to get your bow. All right, so I've got a kind of ugly bow there. That's okay. I'm going to slide that off my bottle, and then I'm going to play with my tails and my loops, and I'm going to gradually pull this until I get a nice tight knot and I get my loops the size that I want. And like I said, sometimes you have to play with it a little bit to get it to do what you want it to, and adjusting the sizes of the loops is a little bit tricky. So this is where I say you want to be gentle, because if you pull too hard, you're going to tear the tool. Okay, so I'm almost there. I'm just going to pull this one a little bit smaller. Okay, so there I have my pretty little bow. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and trim my tails, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to do with this. So I have this little loop here. Okay, now obviously that is not going to slide over my vellum, but what we're going to do is actually trim it. So this is going to sit, I'm just going to move this up so you can see, this bow is going to sit right about here. Okay, so this is the piece that's going to come across the front of my card. So I'm going to trim fairly close to the knot so that when I go to glue that on, it's going to sit just about like that. Okay, now we're not going to do that yet. I'm going to set that aside for a minute, and we're going to do this first. So here I have my scalloped rectangle. This is cut with the Stitch So Sweetly dies. I featured these last week in my video if you missed that one. And I have the frame with the floral, or so the tag with the floral, that I'm going to stamp. Now I'm going to stamp in Basic Gray. Basic Gray is one of those colors that you can actually use and to color with your blend. So you do not have to stamp exclusively with Memento Black. There are certain classic ink colors that you can use with your Stampin' Blends, and Basic Gray is one of them. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp this just centered. Hi Peggy, how are you? Oh, thanks so much. I'm so glad you enjoy these videos. I'm glad you get to watch me live. That's awesome. All right, so there is my stamped image. Okay, now I'm gonna pull in my Stampin' Blend. So here I have light and dark. I hope that's light and dark. Yep, light and dark pool party. Just making sure that I didn't grab the wrong ones. Yep, and I have my light soft Seafoam. So I'm going to start coloring. First of all, I'm going to color the whole flower with my light. Okay, I'm not really worrying too much about staying inside the lines and coloring the whole thing. Well, I'm staying inside the lines, but you know what I mean. I'm not trying to color petal by petal. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm talking too fast, trying to get through this. Okay, and then I'm just going to come in and add a little bit of shadow along the bottom and just along the veins that are sort of already part of the stamped image. Okay, and that's it. Really, really simple. Then I'm just going to add a little bit of shadow to those spots in the center. Super quick and easy, right? Really easy way to color these flowers. For the little bud here, so same thing, I'm going to color with the light. And then we're going to come in with our dark just along the veins. All right, pretty simple, right? Okay, next I'm going to take my soft Seafoam and I am just going to just color the leaves. So this is a really subtle pale green. So I'm not doing any blending with these. I'm just coloring them in really quick and easy. Okay. Just like that. And then I also have one that I've stamped ahead of time. This is a single one. It's going to be used on the bottom part of our card. So I'm going to color that bloom really quickly. So same thing. I'm going to bring in my light pool party and color the whole thing really quick. And using your brush tip makes this go really fast. And then again, I'm going to darken these little corners where the petals are sort of folded over. And then again, add a bit of shadow along the veins there. And then to my little dots. And that's it. Super simple. Okay. All right. Now, I'm not going to torture you with too much fussy cutting today, but this one I did leave to fussy cut. So again, when you are fussy cutting, you want to make sure that you are moving, just make sure you guys can see this, you are moving your paper and keeping your scissors relatively still. Okay, that is the way you will get the smoothest cut. If you're moving your scissors a lot, you will get, you know, you kind of get those little nicks and jagged edges when you're fussy cutting sometimes. That's often because either A, you're using not great scissors that are not sharp enough, or you're moving your scissors too much. Okay, so there's just some fussy cutting tips. I know fussy cutting is not everybody's cup of tea, but honestly, I really don't mind it, and I find it just a little bit relaxing. So it's not so relaxing when you're trying to rush when you're doing a video because people are watching you, but when you're just kind of hanging out in your studio, it's really quite relaxing. All right, so there is my frame. I'm going to go ahead and glue this onto my vellum. Now, the trick with vellum, obviously, is that we want to hide our adhesive when we go to glue this onto the front of our card, right? So I'm going to glue this onto the vellum first. Where is my fast fuse? So we're just going to add a little bit of fast fuse there. And I'm going to center this on the front of my card. And I realized I forgot to do something. Let me stick this down and then I'm going to show you what I forgot to do. So we're going to center that relatively on there. Okay, now what I forgot to do is, if you look at this, you see the darker shadow in behind this label. So to do that, I actually took my light Bermuda Bay blends and I just kind of colored in a little ways from the edge all the way around my label. I'm not coloring the entire label because most of it's going to be covered up, but I'm just going to add a little bit of color around the edges so that when I layer my other tag over top, I end up with that shadow peeking through. So we'll just do this real quick. I'm not doing this especially neatly, but it doesn't matter because you're only going to see a little bit of it. I need to replace this blends. My brush tip is getting very, very frayed. Okay, that should be good. Okay, doesn't look so pretty right now. It will in a minute. Okay, hi Sheila, how are you? Thanks so much for joining me today. All right, so here I have my little bow that I showed you how to tie earlier. So I'm going to take and put a glue dot on the knot. So I'm just going to press a glue dot right in there. And that is going to go sort of right at the edge of my little scalloped rectangle there. Just like that. Okay. Then this little short tail I'm going to wrap around the back and I'm going to use a glue dot. It will not show through because I'm going to have my ribbon over top of it. So we're not going to see it. Did I actually pick up a glue dot? Yes, I did. Okay. Sometimes the glue dots don't want to stick to this tool. All right, and then we're going to grab another one here and wrap this guy around there. Okay, you with me so far? All right, now comes the tricky part because we have to take care when we are gluing this onto our card base that we do not have our adhesive showing through. So you have to be a little bit sneaky when you're working with vellum and kind of plan where you're going to put your adhesive. All right. So obviously I am good to put my adhesive here where my scallop rectangle layer is going to hide the adhesive. And then I'm also going to put a little bit right where my ribbon is, because that's going to conceal it as well. Okay, so then that is going to get glued onto my card base. I forgot to give you the dimensions of my card base, so give me 1 sec. Let me glue this down and then I will give you those dimensions. Okay, it is 4 1/4 by 11 inches and it's scored in the middle at 5 1/2. Okay, and use your bone folder to crisp it up, and there you go. Okay, all right, last step with this one, well, not last step, but next step is to stamp our little stitched or dotted frame. So we're going to stamp that again in the basic gray. So we'll ink that up and we're going to stamp it near an edge because we're going to punch this one out. Okay, then I'm going to bring in my sentiment. This one says wishing you the best, and my Bermuda Bay ink pad, and we'll ink that up. And we're going to stamp that. Whoop, that's not very well inked. Let's try that again. Come on. There we go. And we're going to stamp that centered-ish on that little label there. And what I love about these particular sentiments is they kind of look like they're handwritten, so I don't have to worry too much about getting them perfectly straight. I love sentiments like that. They take the pressure off. All right, so now I'm going to bring in my Label Me Lovely, maybe? I think this is Label Me Lovely. Maybe it's Label Me Fancy. I can't keep straight which name is which, so it's one of the two. I'm going to bring in my coordinating punch. Let's just call it that, the coordinating punch. And line that up in the window and just pop that out. And then that is going to go on to the front of my card with some dimensionals. Now, before I do that, I'm going to add these little single flowers. So I showed you how to color and fussy cut the one. Ahead of time, I stamped and colored and fussy cut the other. I also did a couple of these little bitty leaves. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue these little teensy leaves to the back of one of my flowers here. And I probably only need one glue dot to do this, because they're so teensy and the glue dots are so big in comparison, okay? And then that is gonna get glue dotted onto the front of my card, right about there. It's gonna overlap the stamped label because that is gonna peek out from behind this label, okay? So we're gonna add some dimensionals to the back of our punched label. Sorry, I'm shaking the camera there a little bit. I banged it as I was reaching for my dimensionals. Hope I'm not making anybody seasick. Hey sister, how you doing? How are the grandbabies? I can't wait for you to come. I'm dying to have some sister time. So then this is going to get layered right smack in the center of that stamp label. And you see how that Bermuda Bay that we colored around the edge just sort of peeks out. Okay? And then the last little touch, I'm going to add this last little flower with another glue dot just down in the corner there. All right, and then I had a bunch of these large pool party gems. These are from the holiday rhinestones. They were in the holiday catalog. They are still available, actually. But I had some of these large pool party ones, so I thought, well, let's just add them as a nice little touch. So usually you see me scattering these kinds of embellishments around. Sometimes it's fun to line them all up in a row. It's just a different look. Okay, and that's your finished card. Isn't that cute? Super pretty, really easy thanks to that awesome stamp set and coordinating punch. Okay, thanks, glad you like these. Now on the inside of my sample, I stamped another label and added just another stamp sentiment, so to kind of echo the inside. So this would be a great like shower card or congratulations card or whatever. Yeah, aren't they pretty? All right, moving on, got to keep moving forward. This girl has to get to her meeting. So we're gonna get some of this stuff out of the way and bring in card number 2. So these next two we're actually going to use stamps to color our image rather than the blends. Okay, so we're gonna do this one next. Oops, upside down. There you go. That's what it looks like. Thank you, Peggy. Thanks so much. All right, so let's pull out all our goodies for this one. Now here I have done my stamping ahead of time and I've done my fussy cutting ahead of time because this one there was a little bit more involved, right? I didn't want you to have to sit and watch me fussy cut that. But I am going to show you how I got that double image, all right? So you'll notice this stamp only has the flowers on one side, right? So I'm going to show you how to stamp it so you get both. Make sure that is relatively clean. I'm going to ink up my stamp in Smoky Slate. And I'm going to stamp it once just on my scrap of cardstock here. Okay. Then I'm going to flip it so that my flowers are at the bottom. And I'm going to stamp again. Now, if you are not great at lining up things, looking through a block, you could absolutely use your Stamparatus for this. I'm actually usually pretty good at this. Now, I may not be so good as I'm looking at it from the side, but I'm going to attempt. So I'm lining up the frame on my label and stamping again. I didn't do too bad. I kind of went off the edge there, but I'm lining up that frame. And what it essentially gives you is a slightly bolder frame, but then you get the flowers on both sides. Okay, so as I said, I would recommend using the Stamparatus if you're not great at lining them up, but sometimes it's fun to just take a chance and see what happens. That one actually worked out relatively well. Okay, so I'm going to take my one that I've already fussy cut, and we are going to fill in those flowers using the coordinating stamps. So this is a 2-step stamping stamp set. All right, and we are going to fill in the flowers using the solid image stamp. So this particular stamp fills in these flowers here. So I'm going to ink up my Petal Pink. I'm going to stamp off because I want these to be really, really soft and pale. And again, I am going to attempt to do this while not looking straight on. And we're just gonna, oh, that was pretty good. I never know how it's going to turn out because I'm not actually looking straight down at it. So it's kind of like, will it work? Will it won't? We just cross our fingers and hope. All right. Oh, actually did better at those than I did on my sample. Huh, go figure. Pressure. Works better under pressure, this girl. All right. Next, we are going to do our leaves. Okay. So this particular one fills in these little leaves here and the bottom of the bud. So again, we're going to take our soft Seafoam and ink that up, stamp it off. And now this one could be a challenge. We'll see how it goes. This is where we cross our fingers. Oh, that was pretty good. Okay, and again, you guys are going to think I'm lying about the fact that it is hard to look at this from the side, but honestly, it is. Anybody who's done videos, Michelle, you can attest to this. It is not easy to stamp when your head is off to the side and you can't get right over top, right? Help me out here, sister. Okay, so now this particular stamp is going to fill in these last couple of leaves here. So again, I'm going to attempt to line these up and we will see what happens. There we go. See? Michelle agrees. It is not easy to stamp, especially when you're trying to line up something off to the side. There we go. Look how easy that was. I made it easy, right? It's easy when things work out for you. They're not so easy when they don't. All right, lastly, we're going to fill in the center of our flower. I'm going to use some So Saffron, and we have this little sort of blob stamp. We're going to stamp that one off, and we're going to stamp 1 and 2. And there is, isn't that pretty? Oh, so pretty. All right. We can close this up, get that one out of the way because we don't need it anymore. And now we are going to do some assembly as soon as I find my little punched label. Where'd my little punched label go? There it is. Okay, so here I have punched some of the soft Seafoam using that same punch. Label me lovely, label me pretty, label me fancy, label me something. And we're going to go ahead and glue that right down onto our floral tag. Okay, so I'm going to use just a little bit of Fast Fuse. Now, keeping in mind that my other label, my sentiment label, is going to go this way. So I'm actually going to put my tape this way so that when I glue it on and add my label, I'm not going to see it, right? We always want to be strategic about hiding our adhesive when we're using vellum. Okay, just like that. Okay? All right, now we're going to take another bit of scrap. I got lots of bits of scrap here. And we're going to stamp our sentiment and the little border. So here I have, this is the other label stamp. I'm going to stamp that in some soft Seafoam. So we'll do it down here just because I want to be able to reach it with the punch. And then I'm going to bring in my Petal Pink. And I'm going to stamp Sending Hugs, not upside down. There we go. So we'll center that in that label. I'm going to frisk you on the way out, Michelle. You are not taking my Fast Fuse, lady. I'm going to hide it before you come. Okay, so this is the other coordinating punch, Label Me Lovely or Label Me Fancy, whatever the other one is called. We're going to line that up and pop it out. I have very little fast fuse left, actually. I'm kind of running on fumes here. I'm praying there's some new adhesive in the new catalog. All right, so there is my punched label. And then we're going to go ahead and pop that up on our floral label. So we'll dig out the dimensionals again. And we'll just kind of do 1, 2 right here. And pop that on just in the middle. And I love the way these labels layer, right? They're designed to work together. So it just layers so nicely on there. Well, you know what? I wouldn't object to being quarantined with you for 2 weeks. I'd be quite okay with that. Imagine the wine we could drink. All right, so now I have my background panel. So this is a piece of Whisper White cardstock. It is cut to 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and I've embossed it using the Parisian Flourish embossing folder. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and add some ribbon. Let's get this ribbon out of the way. I'm going to need that for the last card, but we're going to use this stuff. So this is from the annual catalog. It's part of the Magnolia suite. It is, what is it called? Organdy striped ribbon, and it is Petal Pink. Okay, and I wanted something really soft and subtle. I didn't want to cover up too much of that gorgeous embossed pattern. So again, I'm going to take, and if my glue dots decide to stick to my ribbon, I'm going to add a couple glue dots. This is wider ribbon, so I'm just adding a couple glue dots. I'm not putting it quite in the middle. I'm kind of a little bit below center. And I'm going to trim this off the roll and add a couple more here. Just like that. And then we'll stick that down. Okay, so that's the way that's going to go. Then I'm going to layer it on a piece of Petal Pink cardstock that is cut to 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. So it is 1/8 of an inch larger on both sides, so that when I layer it, I get a really narrow little border there. Do you see that? Make sure I'm not too high. Okay. All right. So we're going to add a little bit of fast fuse to this, and I have to go slow because this is an embossed piece of cardstock. And I find with the fast fuse, if you go too fast, you end up tearing your cardstock. So you got to be a little bit gentle. And we're going to pop that right on there. Just like that. Okay. And then we're ready to put this on our card base. So this is a thick piece of Whisper White cardstock. It is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 inches. And it is scored in the middle at 4 1/4. Okay, I will try to keep it lower, Mary Jane. Thank you for that feedback. Sometimes I get too high up. I need to hold it closer to my body. I will remember to do that. Thank you for that. Okay, so again, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we're going to fold in half along our score line. And we're going to add a little bit of adhesive to the back of this. And we're going to pop that onto the front of our card. Just like that. Okay, we good? All right, now I'm ready to pop that onto the front of my card. I am not putting this right in the middle. I want it to be a little bit higher. Okay, that's why I put this a little bit lower than center. So we're going to add a couple of dimensionals to the back of that. And one right, whoop, stuck to my fingernail. There we go. And we'll get rid of these backings. And we're just going to pop that right onto the front of our card. Just about like that. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but I tried to keep that medallion in the center of the Parisian Flourish embossing folder in the middle of my cardstock, so that when I put this on, I can kind of center it on there as well. Okay, just like that. All right, now it is time for your bow tying lesson. So here, again, I have some more of that ribbon. I like to work right from the roll when I'm tying bows because that way I have less waste. I am going to pinch my ribbon between my thumb and index finger on both hands. So I've made 2 loops. They are flat. They are not twisted. Okay, I'm going to take my left loop, cross it over, and bring it around and through. Just like that. Okay, and then it's just a matter of, again, playing with the sides of your loops, teasing your bow out. This ribbon is not quite as easy to tie as some of our other ribbons because it is very sheer. And it's quite a bit wider. My favorite size ribbon, I think, for bows for cards is 1/4 inch width. I think that's probably my favorite. I don't mind 3/8, but 1/4 inch is kind of the one that I find I like the best. So I want my loops to be fairly small because I don't want the bow to dominate the card. So I'm just going to keep playing with them here. Oh, thanks, Mary Jane. I really appreciate that. I'm glad you enjoy it and are enjoying it. All right, there we go. So we're going to trim off our tails, and for this wide ribbon, I like to actually notch the ends of my ribbon. I just think it looks nice and tidy and pretty. Okay, just like that. And then that is going to go onto the front of our card, again with a glue dot. So we'll just press the knot of the bow into a glue dot, and we're just going to add that right down in that bottom corner, just like that. Okay, and then our last touch, of course, is to add some bling. So here I have some of our champagne rhinestones. Now these are on back order right now. Hey Janine, how are you doing? Thanks for stopping by. So I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to add just 3 little champagne rhinestones. So the thing with these little embellishments is you do not need a lot of them, right? That's too far away. We're going to move that closer. Okay, you don't need to use, 10 of them. Your eye likes to see odd numbers, so I use 3, maximum 5. And it just adds that nice little bit of sparkle, a little hint of something, something, without overwhelming the card. Okay? Just got home from work. So did I. And I'm getting ready to leave again as soon as I'm done this video. Okay, so that is card number 2, done and done. This one does not have any wink. The next one will. Don't worry, I will not leave you winkless. Don't worry, Debbie. Never fear. Okay, so we're going to move on to the last card. I think this is my favorite one just because I love the colors in this one. I don't know about where you are, but here we need spring. Like, we need spring bad. And so because it is so dreary outside, I like to use springy colors on my projects, and this is one of them. So I'm just going to swap out some supplies and grab my last basket of goodies here. And I'll show you how I did this one. Okay, let's get all of these bits and bobs out. So to start, I again have a piece of that beautiful vellum. So this is the, what's it called? Purple Posy. Purple Posy, and it is actually cut so that I have no layer, no mat behind it. So this is cut to the actual size of my card base. Okay, so this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. Okay, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. My card base is 4 1/4 by 11, so that when I fold it in half along my score line, my card front, the actual front part of my card, is the same size as my vellum. Okay, do you see that? It totally lines up. If I didn't mismeasure. Nope, I did a pretty good job. Okay, now before we put this on, we're going to do another bow using our magical bottle trick. So you guys are going to be really good at this because I'm showing it to you twice. So again, I want to make sure I have a pretty long tail just so that I can tease my bow out. So I'm wrapping it around the bottle, making my bow. But I'm not pulling it super tight before I take it off the bottle. Okay, I'm going to pull it tight once I get my loops the size that I want. Okay, so now I'm going to start to tease my bow and play with my loops until I get what I want. And again, if you pull too hard with this ribbon, I can't tell you how many times I've ripped this tool. It really is like Velcro. These little dots, the polka dots, stick to the tool. It's like they're welded. So you really want to be gentle when you are pulling it to get to form your bow. Okay? All right, so there's my bow. We'll trim the ends and get rid of this. And then, just like I did on the last one, this one, the bow is going to kind of tuck in a little bit closer. Okay, it's going to go right about there. I'm not going to worry about putting that on yet. We'll put the label on and then we'll place our bow after, but I just wanted to show you how that works. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is take one of our pearlized doilies. Okay, these are in the annual catalog, and we're going to go ahead and just glue that down onto our vellum. I'm not worrying too much about trying to cover the adhesive because my tag, once I get it on there, is going to take care of that for me. Okay, so it's going to go on right about there. Next, I have, where did I put my other little part of my tag? There it is. So here I have that same tag that I fussy cut, and then I just fussy cut the flowers from another one. So remember the last card where we actually overstamped and we got both? If you are not really comfortable with that and it makes you a little nervous to try to line those up, here's an alternative. So stamp 2 labels and layer them. Okay, so I did 1.5 labels, but you're just going to layer them that way. It gives you a similar effect. Okay, hi Martine, how are you doing? Okay, so we are going to stamp these same way we did on the last card. So we're going to use the coordinating stamps to fill in the floral images. So now, here's the thing. We don't have Pool Party ink, right? Pool Party ink was not behaving and Stampin' Up! Had to discontinue it. But I have discovered that if you use Highland Heather and stamp off, you get something that is pretty darn close to Purple Posy. Okay, was I saying Pool Party? I meant Purple Posy. Sorry if I said the wrong color. So stamped off Highland Heather is very, very close to Purple Posy. In fact, it's so close that you probably won't notice the difference. Okay, just for future reference. All right, I'm going to need that in a minute, so I don't want to put that too far away. Next, I'm going to stamp my leaves. Get rid of my dimensional backings that are stuck to my stamp. And we're going to add some color to the leaves and the little bud. Let's see if I can get this lined up. There we go, not too bad. Same thing on this one. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to take in this one and we're going to do the leaves on the other side, right side up. So that is going to stamp on there like that. And this one is going to go on here like this. Now, these are actually quite easy to line up, especially when you're using light colored ink, because it's easy to see through the stamp, right? I mean Purple Posy. Yes, thanks, Deneen. I was saying Pool Party. I don't know why I was saying Pool Party. I shouldn't have been saying Pool Party. Pool Party, I would cry if that ink went away because it is a go-to for me. It is Purple Posy that is no more. All right, so then I'm going to bring in my So Saffron pad. And again, I'm just going to fill in the centers of the large flowers, just like that. Okay, super quick thanks to these stamps. So if you do not like coloring, that's okay, because these stamps allow you to fill in your images without coloring. So I know I have some people who are not real coloring fans. Well, this one is a great one because you don't have to worry about coloring. Okay, so now we are going to layer those 2 tags. So I'm going to put just a little bit of adhesive on here and we're just going to line those up just like that. Okay, and it gives you the same effect as what we did on the last card, but you don't have to worry about trying to line up the 2 tags. Okay, all right, now this is going to go, no, it's not going to go on yet. I have to put my ribbon on. Ha! Okay, so this is going to go right at the edge of my doily. So I'm going to trim this again. I need a little tail to go to the left and a longer tail to go to the right. Okay, so it's going to go on like that. I'm going to, again, add a glue dot to my knot. And that's going to get stuck down right about there. Okay, oh, I'm going to have to move this over a bit. I didn't cut my tail long enough. Let's just slide that over. Thank goodness vellum is forgiving when it comes to adhering. Nope, it's got to go over farther still. Didn't cut that long enough. That's okay. There we go. Okay, that's better. Now I have enough to wrap around. So we're going to add a couple glue dots and just wrap that around the back of the vellum. And then same thing on this side. We're going to add a couple of glue dots. Thanks, Martine. I'm glad you like that idea. It's a great way to save ribbon, right? Because then you're not wasting ribbon on the back of your card. Don't want to waste ribbon where nobody sees it, right? All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and glue this onto the front of my card. And again, I have to be strategic, right? So I'm going to put adhesive where my doily is. And I'm going to run adhesive, again, along where my ribbon goes. Okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and stick this down. And again, I don't have any border, so this is going to go flush with the edges of my card front all the way around. Okay, so no border on this one. A little bit different. Okay, now this is going to pop up on the front of my card. I'm going to add a couple of dimensionals to the back of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll pop one in the middle. And get rid of our backings. And we'll pop this right on here. And I didn't center it on my doily. I wanted to see more of my doily, right? So I actually kind of did it offset a little bit so that I could see more of my doily peeking out. Okay, and then last step is to stamp our label again. So I'm going to grab, where did I put my basic gray? There we go. We're gonna stamp our little stitched label here in the basic gray. And actually I lied, I'm not doing that in basic gray. I'm doing that in Highland Heather. Let's stamp that off. Try that again. Stamping it in Highland Heather. Good thing cardstock has two sides, eh? There we go. And then I'm going to stamp my sentiment in the basic gray. And I love this sentiment. I love I miss your face. It's like one of my favorite things to say. So I quite like that there is now a fun stamp. So we're going to go ahead and stamp that in the basic gray, just like that. And then, again, we're going to pop it out using our punch. So we'll just slide that in there and line it up and pop her out. Okay, and then this is going to get popped up, and you're going to see it's a little bit smaller than this, and it gives you just that nice gray border all the way around. So I've got some double popping going on this card. I hope you guys are okay with that. I'm a little bit addicted to dimensionals. You probably know that if you've watched very many of my videos. So we're just going to pop that on here and center it just like that. And then, where'd my wink go? There it is. We're going to add a little bit of Wink of Stella. Oops, has this ever happened to you? The actual like seal came out of the lid of my Wink of Stella, so I have to take off two lids when I go to use it. So I'm just going to take and add just a little bit of sparkle to my flowers on this one, because, you know, sparkle is the way to go. There you go, Debbie. There's your Wink of Stella fix. You got to know I wouldn't leave you hanging. There we go. Okay, and then the last touch is to add some bling again. These are our frosted enamel dots. They come in two sizes. So I'm going to use the smaller ones for this. And we're just going to add a couple of these sort of here and there on our card. And again, whenever you're using these embellishments, you want to try to create a triangle, because visually that's what our eye likes to see. There we go. Glad I could help you out. Okay, so you will see that on the inside here, I'm not going to take the time to do this now, but I did stamp, I added my sending hugs, and I stamped a few more of those single blossoms, and there is a coordinating stamp to fill in the center of this and the petals as well. So there is no coloring required with this stamp set. It's pretty awesome. Okay, so let me bring in all three projects. Where'd my other one go? It's hiding underneath. There it is. Okay, so there are our three projects for today. All right, I hope you like them. This stamp set is pretty awesome. Now, it is only available while supplies last during Celebration. Now, so Celebration is done on the 31st of March, so there's only a few weeks left to get your hands on this. So if you like it, I recommend getting it sooner than later. Now, before you go, I need to tell you that today is the last day to take advantage of my online class, my Parisian Beauty online class. Okay, so tonight at midnight, that host code is going to close. So if you are interested in taking advantage of this online class, you need to get your order in by tonight on my website at lenagursa.stampinup.net using this host code. Okay, so this class is free with a $60 order, and I'm going to show you real quick again what you are getting in your class. So you are going to get all of the supplies, pre-cut, die cut, embossed, everything for 5 projects. So this is our first project. Okay, so everything will come die cut. All you are doing is assembling and then doing some stamping on the inside. Project number 2 is, oops, that's not it. Project number 2 is this one. Okay, it's got a cute little key embellishment there. And again, some stamping on the inside. Project number 3. Kept it quite plain on the inside of this one because it could be for just about anything. And then you're going to also receive 2 fun fold cards. So here's your basic Z fold, stands up like this. Okay, and then finally we have a sort of different take on an easel card where the Eiffel Tower stands up in the middle. Okay, so those 5 cards, all of the supplies and pre-cut cardstock and everything you need to make those 5 are included in the online class. You also receive a link to an exclusive tutorial video that shows you step-by-step how to create those cards, and you'll receive a PDF that has all of the supplies and measurements in case you want to recreate those again. Okay, so that is all included for free with a $60 order using this host code, but you have to order by tonight. Okay? All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed these 3 cute projects, and I will see you again next Tuesday. I'll be on holidays next Tuesday, so I'll be so relaxed. Have a fantastic week, and I will see you next time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. Bye for now.